Welcome to Cloverbreaks, where a middle-aged child breaks into unopened packages of sports cards from his youth. I'm not a professional, just a hobbyist who likes to film the process because maybe you don't have anything else to do on a Saturday night, but experience a little nostalgia. Let's get to breaking. Good evening, my breaking buddies. I am so incredibly excited about this little blue angel sitting right here. This has been sitting on my shelf for all week while I was getting all my work done. And I've been wondering what cards lie inside here that I have not seen yet. We're going to open this up tonight. 1983 Topps Vending Box. There are 500 cards in here. And for anybody who doesn't know, the cards we're looking for, there are so many cards that are valuable in this set. Probably the most valuable are Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, and Ryne Sandberg. Those three rookie cards I chased as a kid. I mean, forever. What felt like forever. My body would shake when I saw one, when a friend had one. I ended up with a Wade Boggs, but I've never had a Tony Gwynn, and I've never had a Ryne Sandberg. I'm hoping that we can pull one tonight. It's a rainy night here in Nashville, but hopefully there's going to be some sunshine coming out of this box. So this is what the boxes look like. This was authenticated by the Baseball Card Exchange. You can see a little hologram sticker right there. And basically, that's Steve Hart, the owner. He guarantees that the box is taken directly out of another sealed box that these boxes were put into. So what these boxes were back in the day, they had bowling alleys and, other places where kids would hang out. The vendor would open this up, take the baseball cards out, stick it into the machine, and then the child would come through, put like a quarter in there, push in a lever, and pull out like 3 or 4 cards. So this was to stock those. And obviously, when Topps made the boxes, they put a whole bunch of these in a bigger box for shipping. Those have been discovered, and now, today, that big box was opened in March of 2021. So, Baseball Card Exchange makes sure that you're getting something that's a great. Steve Hart, the owner, as I understand it, he will not authenticate it if he's not standing there when the sealed case is open. So, it wasn't that long ago that Steve Hart was standing over the top of a sealed case and this little poppy came out. And now it is sitting here in my house. And this is so exciting for me. So I can't wait to get started. There's so many valuable cards in this. And the great thing about Baseball Card Exchange is they make sure, I've heard that they ask about the environment that the card was in. Was it dry? Was it, too hot, too cold, whatever. So they try to get you a really, really great product. And this should feel like we're going to take a time warp to 1983 where these cards were brand new. I've got a lot of 83 cards in my collection, but unfortunately, they're all not in fantastic shape. And so that's what'll be nice about this is to get, hopefully a PSA graded 10, what's called a Gem Mint 10. So let's get into it. All right, so this wrapper that's on the outside here, this is from Baseball Card Exchange. So, he guarantees that the box came out of a sealed case, but this cellophane does not come from Topps. It actually comes from Baseball Card Exchange because this was already in a sealed box. Interesting thing about these boxes, they use the same box year after year after year after year. Topps did to send these cards out to those places. So the box looked very similar. If somebody had screwed up, there's nowhere on here that this says 1983. I mean, it could be in 1981 or 79 or something like that. But I'm sure it's 1983, and that's what we're hoping for because, gosh, I love this set and can't wait to dig in. So the first thing that you want that I try to remember is that you have to be as careful as you possibly can with these cards. Oh, that's a lovely, lovely thing to look at. So what you can see in here is that the machine that put them in, you see this like little kind of ribbed texture on the top. That's one of the ways to recognize that, yes, you are getting an authenticated box and not somebody who's opened one up and then stuffed it. That's hard to recreate once you've sorted through all the cards and picked out the good guys. I can feel it. I can feel it. I think we're going to have a good night. I'm hoping we're going to have a good night. I've been waiting all week for this. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm opening valuable vending boxes is to just break this top right-hand corner just a tiny little bit. And the reason that I want to do that is because I want to give way so that I'm not trying, so that I have some space in there so that I can take the cards out easy. And see, then this just opens up and we can pull them out without digging in there. The things that I have here, top loaders. These will put anybody who looks super valuable. I have both of my lucky Rubik's Cubes. Now, why Rubik's Cubes? Well, we're talking about 1983. But also, once we start to take some of the cards out of the box here, some of these might fall over. And a Rubik's Cube is a great way to just kind of hold that area. And so what I've got here is another box that I'll be using and putting the cards into. And so I need 2 Rubik's Cubes to kind of hold them up there. So we're going to get started now. The cards on the end are usually not in a gem mint 10 condition. It's very difficult to pull a gem mint 10 from the edges because they get banged and beat up and probably take any of the impact that the box did over the years. These guys in the middle are kind of protected by their teammates, you know? So let's dig into it. Oh, also, I have penny sleeves that all of these cards will eventually go into. I have got card savers. I have a centering cheat sheet little thing that I picked up online, and a loop tool, which is a magnified light, so that I can really look at the card to make sure that it's in really great condition if I get excited about it, which I get excited about a lot of things, if you couldn't tell. All right, let's get into this thing. Man, I'm so excited. I'm half trembling. I washed my hands twice. This is just such a nostalgic box for me. I chased these cards pretty much my entire youth. So on those end cards, we're obviously hoping that we don't hit the big guys there. We hope we hit them in the middle because we don't want to have any damage. So I'll also be handling these from the edges and not putting my finger on the middle of it. Even though I wash my hands, that can still ruin the surface, which is usually the thing that's overlooked when you're valuing a card or sending it away. You might miss that there's an issue with the surface because you look straight at the corners. Now look at that centering job. That's great. Now sometimes in an 83 vending box, the cards will have kind of a curve to them. That's if they've been in a heated environment. It sucks the moisture out of the card, but only really like on the edges because the middle is harder to get to. So now the card's got a different makeup from its edges and its middle, and the cards can kind of start to warp like that. But look at that. Man, that is about as straight as it gets. And you can see there's one little damage on the end, and that's the card that came from the end. So let's dig into it. So looking for Wade Boggs. There's Cal Ripken, Rickey Henderson. There's so many good cards. I know we're going to come across a bunch of them. So let's just start it off. There's Steve Rogers, Mickey Klutz. That's a terrible last name to have. If you hear my dog snoring in the background, Stella is her name. Hey, Stelly. She's out. Rainy nights, put him to sleep. Hey, I've never seen that card before in my life. Guy Salars. Cal Ripken, boom! Right off the bat. Man.
Gorgeous.
Cal Ripken, right away. Now that card has a centering problem, top to bottom. But, I watched an earlier break today, and that's one of the only cards that they pulled. They did end up pulling a Tony Gwynn at the end of the day, but up to that point, they were going to be... and a Gary Gaetti right behind it. Oh, man, this is going to be a good night. I can feel it. I can really feel it. So, both of those cards, great cards. Wow. Awesome. Ron LaFleur. Recently, the Cal Ripken card has sold for, somewhere around $500. I'd have to take a look at that to see if it, would be gem mint condition, but, possibly not. I mean, it's not that easy to get a gem mint 10, but, it will pull something. There'll be somebody out there interested in it. Dave Tobick. Juan Bonilla. I am in love with how good of a shape these cards are in. This is what the back of them looks like. There's this real kind of cool peachy color that they put in there. In 1982, the year prior to this, was one of the first years that Fleer and Donruss were on the scene, and there was a lot of competition, and man, Topps, their just printing was bad, their pictures were bad, there was ink all over the place. I mean, it was a fun design, but it lacked a little bit in its quality. Well, when they started to lose some of the game, in 81, there was no competition. Fleer and Donruss were still trying to figure it out. Cecil Cooper. And so Lou Piniella, there really wasn't any competition at all. But in 82, Fleer and Donruss came through and did a pretty nice job. So, in 83, Topps had to step up their game, and they sure did. This great design with every player has an action shot. Look at that bat floating there on the Lou Piniella card. And then they have a little mug shot in a circle. There's Joe Torrey, famous Yankee manager. Terry Leach. This guy almost threw underhand, but he would put his body sideways like this and then throw almost sidearm. But, man, it was a really interesting delivery to watch. It must just screwed up batters. Tim Raines. That is what we call off-center or a miscut. You see how much space is at the bottom, and we're seeing the top of another card's logo. I love Tim Raines. That card would have been worth something, but that's a terrible miscut. Larry Bittner. I believe that's how you pronounce it. You got to be careful. Sometimes you get what's called a hugger, where a card and another card will be tight to each other, and you might end up putting down a Tony Gwynn and not even know it. Speaking of Tony Gwynn, he is teammates with this guy, Joe Pittman. That's the Padres outfit that we're trying to put the energy into tonight. I can feel you, Tony. I can feel you. Andy Hassler. George Brett, another card that's miscut. Looks like maybe the line of all-stars that they were printing were a little bit shifted off, which sucks because, as everybody knows, all-stars are the guys that you want, So that's unfortunate. Tug McGraw, there you go. And as you can see, those cards are starting to fall a little bit. They're all right now, but by the time they would be able to fall completely over, this card, or the Rubik's Cube, will hold it up. And as you can see, a Rubik's Cube is just short of a card. So even if you want to put those in vertical boxes as stoppers, they're great for that. Oh, shit! I'm kind of freaking out because gorgeous. There are not a lot of PSA 10s, and this card is insanely well centered. Holy shit. I could feel him all night in this box. I mean, I don't even know what to say right now. I can't believe I've already reached my goal. And look at that box. I mean, there's so much in there. I could probably pull more. Probably pull a second Tony Gwynn. Wow. Yes, immediately into a sleeve to protect the surfaces. And then we're going to go immediately into a top loader, which is the This is the holder designated for the gentleman that we're excited about. Man, I'm usually so talkative, but that's just gorgeous. Oh, and the back is centered too. Lord love a duck. Tony Gwynn rookie. Never had it in my entire life. Kind of a little bit emotional about it. Wow. That's awesome. That's just, I'm so excited. All right, enough of that. I'm going to move on because there's a lot of pulling to do tonight. Billy Sample. Reggie Smith. Oops. I'm putting Billy Sample. Somebody out there was going, Billy Sample? Really? In your notables? Steve Mura. John Martin. There's a singer named John Martin. Here's Harold Baines. It's a great card. Also looking centered as F. Luis Sanchez, Bruce Sutter. Bobby Mitchell. Oh, you got a hugger. Doug Cinsis, Moose Haas. Romo and Gates. I always loved these 1983 cards. The design, I always loved that I got two pictures. And so there's a Tom Seaver card. That's a great card too. Look at the centering of that. Shit, I'm going to have to start putting things down here and getting these in cases because damn. Or at least, I'm going to at least put these in soft, these are called penny sleeves. I don't know if that's a little bit of a focus problem or if that's motion blur. Definitely in his arm, but I don't know about his legs. Anyway, let's put that one down on the side there. And I don't think, besides the Cal Ripken, I'm going to put Cal in there too. He's worth something. If anybody's interested, the Tony Gwynn card in a PSA 10 has recently sold as high as $5,500 because the population is very low of Gem Mint 10s for a Tony Gwynn. I will, in the comments, let you know what this guy, I mean, it's absolutely going off for grading. Jeff Lottie, Ron Reed, Eddie Whitson. There's Dave Concepcion. He had a great career. Rick Monday. Always loved that guy. Vern Rule. Gary Carter. That's a nice card. God, we got a box here of just incredible centering. Incredible centering. All right. So now you'll see, I'll take these cards and I'll put them over here in this box as carefully as I can. And let's get a Rubik's Cube in there just to hold those up. And now we're going to pull another thing here. And, well, I'll put the top loaded box in there here we go. Just a little spacer for the moment. And when we'll get back to it, we'll get the Rubik's Cube in there once we have enough room. So there's Gene Richards, and as you can see, there's all kinds of ink problems on that thing. Hopefully that doesn't become a thing. There's Vern Rule again. Just had him. There's Gary Carter again. So a lot of times what you'll see is the cards, the way they were cut and shuffled, they'll come out kind of in the same order. But I am not complaining. I would love to see another Tony Gwynn. So it's Claudette Washington. I was at a Yankee game when I was younger. There's the Mickey Klutz again. And Claudette Washington hit a home run in the bottom of the 15th inning, I believe, or 16th inning for the New York Yankees. And my friends were losing it. There's Guy. There's Cal Ripken again. Wow. If it turns into this kind of night, gorgeous. I mean, holy hell. I saw the card starting to repeat. But look at the centering on that. Much, much better than this one. This card, recently sold for like $600. So we could be making some profit tonight. That would be awesome. Floyd Rayford, Kevin, Dave Garcia. I mean, these are all looking familiar. Dave Tobick, Reed Nichols. I had, when it got to like the 14th inning, there's the Lou Piniella card again. We might be on a trail here. God bless us if we are. That would be amazing. This can keep happening all night if you want to. There's Joe Torrey again. Terry Leach again. Tim Raines without the cut. This is looking like it's heading the same way. I don't remember Ken, but there's a Reggie Jackson card. Can't beat that. Dave Winfield. Oh my God. I mean, this is one heck of a box right here. I don't know that I've ever opened a box that was this promising this early. Dave Rozema. There's Fergie. So about the 14th, I'm talking about that Claudette Washington game. After a couple of them, we were young kids. They took the baseball team to go see a Major League Baseball game. And, we got tired. I wasn't tired, but the parents were tired, and they said they wanted to get going, and they drive the cars. So that's the way that goes. And there's Tommy Boggs. We're looking for the Wade Boggs in this set. And anyway, as soon as we got to the parking lot, we kept begging them for one more inning. By the time we got to the parking lot, we just heard everybody screaming inside, and then everybody had their radios on, and sure enough, Claudette Washington hit a walk-off home run, and we missed the celebration. There's Dennis Eckersley. Man, one of the greatest pitchers in history. Al Holland. There's Dale Berra. Alfredo Griffin. There's a Hal McRae and Dale Murphy Al Oliver card. Many times you have leaders, you have, one person, but these guys were obviously tied. So he ended up with 3 on that card. There's Steve Rogers, Manny Castillo, Dennis Leonard, Milt May. All right. Well, heck, guys, I'm just going to thank my lucky stars that we started off as well as we started off. And there's a Rickey Henderson. Can't beat that. Man, these cards are so well centered too. Well, that's a little bit left to right there. There's a John Tudor. Steve Balboni. Larry Anderson, Manny Trio. Trilo. I don't know. I'm just trying. Dan Meyer. So that one's got a little bit of a nubbed corner, so something must have happened there. Sometimes the machine will catch it or something, but, that would be devastating if you saw it on, one of these cards that was worth something. But so far, we've been lucky. Oop, see, there was a hugger there, and I almost missed it. Greg Pryor. Jim Woe, there's a Pete Rose. Fantastic card. It's a little bit of a sunspot there, or what they call an eyeball sometimes. Really well set in the back. Man, I got to make 2 piles at this point. Because I've got the good guys, and I've got like the really good guys, and then I've got like the insane good guys. But this box has been great to me so far. That's why we call it Cloverbreaks. There's Roger Erickson. Look at that haircut. Kind of looks like a woman. Roger, you're making enough money, buddy. Go see a barber. Rick Leachrich Camp. Tim Raines. That's a cool baseball card. Second year, I believe. No, Tim Raines. What am I thinking? I'm thinking somebody else. But that's a cool card, though. Charlie Huff. Long career. A real long career. Heck, in 83. Look at that. All those years with the Dodgers and went to the Rangers. Mike Gates. Mike Stanton. Rick Sutcliffe. He's great. Hargrove. In the 83 set, they had these all-star cards that sometimes when you're sorting multiple years of baseball cards, it's tough to tell that that's 1983 because you don't have that circle that you're so used to seeing. But this outline that goes around the picture on the top with the Topps logo in the top right, that's what gives it away. So there you go. Little bit of education from me. Dave Concepcion, that's cool. Cool all-star card. Jeff Newman. Floyd Shipper. All right, so now, for sure, our Rubik's Cubes are coming in handy. Because now I can get into it. I can get rid of that thing. Pull a little stack here. And drop the Rubik's Cube in there. Okay. Let's see what we got here. This is an awesome action card. Look at that Chris Spire card. I don't know who that is. Trying to get to second base, but they are in a very interesting, very interesting stance there. Now wait, did I not put those in those just commons? I didn't put them in the box there. There's Steve Carlton, Greg Harris, Mike Marshall. There's Bobby Grich. Look at that mustache. That's a winner if I ever saw one. There's Reggie Jackson. Dave Winfield again. Okay. We didn't end up coming back through to the Tony Gwynn, but we were on a trail there for a second. Rick Dempsey. I think my dad knew Rick Dempsey, which is pretty interesting. There's Gary Rajijijish. Never could pronounce his name. Roy Howell. So currently, there were some cards that weren't all the way flat. So some of the cards were a little bit beyond the edge. You can see there a little bit. And so those corners are a little bit nicked, and that will pull a lot of value. So hopefully, now we're kind of fighting that as well. Greg Minton, Paul Splittorff. Because you don't want to get the card that you've been looking for your whole entire life and then, by some string of events, it's got a damaged corner and now its value is way down. There's Rudy May. As you can see on that corner, it's bent back a little bit. There's Joe Morgan. The corner of Bruce Kyson here protected Joe Morgan, and Kyson would normally go in there, but yeah, we've got some cards here that are turned over. So Mike Stanton. Some corners, I should say, not cards. The cards aren't turned over, just the corners. There's Mookie Wilson. That's cool. John Werner, Rich Hebner. Man, you got to love those old Pirates uniforms. Ralph Hawk, or Hoke. Not sure how to pronounce that. Jeff Newman. As I've said before, guys, I'm not a pro. I'm just a guy who loves to do this. This is like a passion of mine. This is interesting because it's very obvious that this picture was like the picture taken right before this picture. So he might not have, he didn't really stay in the majors that long. This is his rookie card. They probably didn't have a lot of pictures of him. But a pitcher named Armstrong, I mean, come on. There's also a pitcher named Wynn, and then there was a pitcher in the late 80s named Bob Walk. That's what a terrible name for a pitcher. You don't want to be Bob Walk. Definitely want to be a guy with a last name Wynn. There's Dale Murphy. That's cool. A little all-star card there. Lloyd Mosby. Vandenberg, Jerry Dibzinski. There's a Pete Rose. God, that's a pretty card. And, the corners of that look pretty darn good. And it's centered well. That's great. So kind of what's happening is they're jagging, up and down like a dragon back. And anything that was up right now, it'll correct itself. But anything that was up got a little bit of a ding. And anything that was down, you have, there's that 3 A's in a row. Look at that. Anything down would be safe from the corner. So that's what we're going through right now. Makes me a little bit nervous, but we're just going to keep breaking these cards. Guys, I like to go slow and enjoy the process, you know. I paid something for the box, so if you want to, you can go down to the bottom right-hand corner of this video, and you can play this at a faster speed if you just kind of want to see the cards. But I like talking to you and taking my time, and maybe that's why we're pulling such good cards. There's a Robin Yount, 82 batting and pitching leaders. Robin Yount, people just love Robin Yount. He does very well in the aftermarket. A lot of collectors. Robin Yount, Mike Schmidt does really well. Obviously Nolan Ryan. But you know, I've bought some Nolan Ryans in the aftermarket, and I'm a breaker. So, you know, there's a lot of breakers coming out now. You know, the sports card market is so hot. There's an Ozzie Smith, also well-centered and sharp corners. I love that. I'm waiting for somebody to name, you know, I'm Cloverbreaks, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. You can hear that thunder outside. But I'm waiting for somebody to name themselves Breaker19. That would be clever. Joey McLaughlin. There's that Padres uniform. Dave Righetti. A great pitcher. I was a Yankee fan as a kid. And I always ask people, they say, oh, I'm a Yankee fan too. Well, when I was a kid, the Yankees never won a friggin' ball game ever. And then finally, they did. But I always ask people who seem like showboat fans to say, who was the shortstop before Derek Jeter? And if you can't tell me that, then you're not a Yankee fan, because that's when they were losing. Derek Jeter came along and the magic came along, and the Yankees just won, I mean, World Series after World Series. There's a cool Raleigh Fingers card. He's a super veteran, and you can see back in the day before he hit puberty, he didn't have a mustache. His trademark. I live in Nashville. There's a lot of guys with that mustache. Steve Kemp, Al Oliver. Oliver's a great player. There's Dave Palmer. Goose. The Goose Gossage. That's a cool card. There's a little bit of an ink blot there, but still in pretty great shape. Ooh, Gary Maddox was a hugger. I never knew that you cared. All right. So no sign of the Boggs or the Sandberg yet, but I mean, cannot complain. There's Floyd, Rayford. The 1983 Topps set is one of the years where I will sleeve everything, because it's before the... it's Tommy Lasorda telling somebody to get lost. I like Tommy Lasorda. Before what they call the junk wax era, which was when they, supply and demand, right? Donruss and Fleer start doing better and better and better, and Topps just says, let's flood them out of the frickin' market. They're stealing our business. And so they started printing like crazy, and then Fleer started printing like crazy, and next thing you know, the whole market was just flooded. I want to take a second to talk about Carlton Fisk. If you're the cool dude in your high school where every picture of you just looks awesome, you're Carlton Fisk. Carlton Fisk's cards, he always has like something badass going on. It's just such a killer vibe to every one of his cards. He's got some of the best faces of cards of any player. Ken Landau, I can talk, huh? Craig Swan, Jim Mahler. Sometimes it's easier just to say the names of the people that you're breaking. That's kind of a cool card. I've never seen that one. Steve Henderson, Bunting. Hey, there's a checklist. Paul Molitor. Nice. It's a great card. Keith Hernandez. Talking about people who have fans out there. Keith Hernandez has some people that gobble up his cards. He's got a little following. Bill Madlock and John Candelaria. Don Hood. San Diego Padres also. Ozzie Smith, I believe, was a shortstop for them that year. You've yet to see an Ozzie Smith card, but love Ozzie as well. Johnny Bench. It's a great card. Johnny Bench always does good in the aftermarket as well. I can't imagine why. He's just one of the greatest players. All right, actually, I'm going to put these, move these over to our holding box. Now, there's a lot of cats out there that do breaks. They like to talk about, the stats and what they, how they performed as baseball players when they were a kid. That is a seriously off-cut card. You can see the top of the next card. I don't even, whoever was cut underneath that. I hope that doesn't end up becoming a little thing here. Sometimes that happens. You see a bunch in a row because they're coming from the same sheet. But anyway, I just like to just open my mouth and let the conversation take me where it would go. And then just be careful not to spit on the Ryne Sandberg. That is centered like a mother.
Gorgeous!
$1,600 possibly in my hand. Wow. The centering of that is great. Lord love a duck. I mean, have you ever seen, when people say 4-leaf clovers are lucky? I mean, that's why this is Cloverbreaks. Look at what is happening right now. A Ryne Sandberg and a Tony Gwynn. And right before we came into this box, I said I got the Boggs, but I've never had a Ryne Sandberg or a Tony Gwynn. And there they both are. That's incredible. I mean, honestly, with the centering of those and the condition that they look like they're in, I mean, if I walked away from this box right now, I would be happy. And I'm about halfway. Rich Dower. Mike Prawley. Mike could probably get him out. Put him in. Mike Schmidt. No, I think about there's a George Brett card. Man, look at the centerings. 1983 didn't always have the greatest centerings, but they did a lot better than they did in the previous year, for sure. I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm actually going to use. So I hate to, sometimes I can't get my fingers underneath the card, so I like to have something on the side that I can pick it up from. But I want to slide that into a case. George Brett is a huge player in the aftermarket. People love George Brett. It's interesting when players have a story that goes with them, whether it's good or it's bad. There's a Willie McGee rookie card. When I was a child, it's got a little bit of a surface errors in there, kind of all over the place, really. But we'll still put it there. When I was a kid, I purchased a Willie McGee card. It was a hot card for a second. I thought I was a badass. I showed it to all my friends. It might have been worth more than it is now. Luis Salazar. There's a Gary Carter base card. Also centered so well. There's a Sparky Lyle. Okay, so this is the classic flip. And sometimes this happened in the 83 box. I saw it actually on the break that I watched earlier today. It's interesting. I don't necessarily know what happens with the machine, but they end up getting flipped over maybe when they're going in. They just catch and fishtail or something. But the guys that were on earlier tonight that I watched, they were, man, theirs were all over the place. And their cards were a little bit warped. Don Sutton, Hall of Fame baseball player. Art Howe. And this guy, Steve Yeager or whatever his name is, it either looks like he's holding the biggest bat in the world, or it's just super miscut. I mean, the guy who was designing this, why he's like, oh, we must see the whole bat. I mean, come on, that would have been a great card right there. I mean, look what they did with Ryan here. What your counterpart did. Von Hayes, Eric Show. Hubie Brooks. I always like to see Hubie Brooks. I think he's one of the trail cards to some of the guys we're looking to get. There's Ray Knight. Dick Tidrow. Dick Tidrow, 2 years before that, had a mustache that came all the way down to his chin like a Fu Manchu. I think his wife made him cut it. Just checking the cameras there, make sure they're still rolling, because I am probably going to watch this back. What a great rainy night. I don't know if you can hear the thunder there. Eric Rasmussen. Here's a Rusty Staub card. And goes over here a little bit. Alex Trevino, that's an off-cut card. Right, so whatever sheet this was, I mean, I made some mistakes. And here I am talking about the 1983 being centered so well, and then, look at how these are all off-centered. But here we go, but we got back on it. There's a Reggie Jackson. As long as when the guys like Reggie Jackson show up that they're centered, I am happy. It's Dave Dravecki. There's Bob Walk. I said the late 80s, but heck, I guess he was around in the early 80s too. I didn't even know. There it is. It was his 1987 card. 87 Topps. I must have had 10 of them. I mean, they were, I just kept pulling Bob Walk over and over and over again. There's Larry Boa. And the Rawlings batting, the batting glove. I was always, the batting glove, I used to wear one underneath my mitt. It made me feel like the mitt was tighter to my hand. I thought I was so cool. No, and the Yankees, there was who was it? There was one Yankee that could have been Ricky Henderson, might have been Don Mattingly, but it was or Mel Hall. I think it was Mel Hall. Between every at-bat, he would undo his Velcro and undid the Velcro again, then undid this one and undid that one again. And then he would clap, and it was almost like an OCD thing that he would, this little ritual he would go before every single pitch. Step out of the batter's box, do it again. All these miscut cards. But again, I'm not too worried about it as long as this box keeps treating me the way that it is. Chris Chambliss there looking like he's underhanding the ball to the batter. Hey, you want to hit a home run? Here you go. I hate my manager. Carlton Fisk, good guy and well-centered. That is Cloverbreaks, people. I realize there's probably some people out there that have, spent the money on an 83 box and did not do as well as I am, and they're probably hating me right now. But I don't get the good guys every single time. The All-Stars or the Hall of Fame guys, I don't get them every single time, but when I do, man, coming like fire tonight. And there's Ron Guidry. Ron Guidry never made the Hall of Fame. I don't know, maybe the Seniors Club will get him in here, somewhere down the line. But I felt like he deserved to be to be in there. Long career, just the numbers were just short, you know. Same with Donnie Baseball, you know, he just didn't have the numbers. But how do you tell the story of baseball without talking about Donnie Baseball, Ron Guidry, and Pete Rose? How do you tell the story of baseball without talking about the man who has the most hits? I mean, that's crazy. There's another Gary Gaetti. Gary Gaetti and Tom Pakarek here are making out. There we go. Pull the Gaetti. Tom can go back in the old box. Onyx. Okay, there's Lee Elliott with a hugger. Harry Spillman. Becky McBride. There was a girl in my high school named Becky McBride. So every time I see Bake McBride, I always say Becky McBride. Bill Gardner. Dave Kingman, who's actually a really great player. Played for a long time, bunch of different teams. I mean, look at that. Home run hitter. 48 home runs in 79. Did not know. I mean, that's so close to 50, you know, where Cecil Fielder came in. There's Eddie Murray and Jim Palmer on the same card. That's always nice to see. Dave Edwards. This back and forth is a little bit annoying. Nolan. You can stay as annoying as you want as long as I flip him over to Nolan Ryan's. Tom. How you doing, Tom? Cliff. Johnny Wackenfoos. What a name. Rod Carew. There's Bob Clark. Mike Moore. Oh, when I saw this kid when I was a kid, I always thought he was throwing a baseball at the camera, but that's actually is a first baseman backhanding. Dave Bergman's backhanding a ball hit down the line, and that's actually just something sitting on the wall. A retired number on the wall in the outfield there. I'd love to know who number 4 was for the Giants that was retired. There's Bobby Mercer playing instead of announcing. A Yankee announcer for a long time. It's Glenn Wilson. Fergie Jenks. Marcus Foley. Jimmy Smith. And see, I feel like the photographers did a really great job in the 1983 set. Yeah, flip it over for a Dale Murphy and a Phil Niekro. Nice. Bobby Brown. That's a cool card. I'm a graphic designer by nature, so I love to see when, you know, the body reflects the design of the card, and those angles are just great. I know. Everybody's like, get to it. Just get to the next card. I don't want to hear about graphic designers. Bobby Mercer again. Storm Davis and Luis Aponte. Willie Randolph. Willie Randolph had a really long career. I mean, in 1983, look at that. It's 1980, you know, he's... In 83, he's got a list. Oh, I'm looking at Bob Watson. Jeez. I was like, man, he played longer than I thought he did. Hugger. From 75 to 83, and he played a long while after 83, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Boggs, I'm reaching out to you, man. I'm sending Boggs energy out there. I'll get literally every card that I was looking for if we can pull a Wade Boggs. So I'm putting Boggs energy out into the world. Come on, Boggs, and come on. Cal Ripken. Love it. You can never have enough of those. Jim Sundberg. Would have been nice to be Ryne Sandberg. It's close. Tobic. Is Juan related to Bobby Bonilla? Is it Cecil Cooper? A little bit of a top-to-bottom problem there. Ron LaFleur. You know, a lot of times after I'm done doing these types of boxes, you know, there were 40 years they were spending time together. You know, some of these guys are bound to get into a relationship and hug each other. So what you need to do is go back through the case again. Now, I don't have much of a problem with that because I penny sleeve everything. There's Joe Niekro. That is Phil Niekro's brother. And there's Tim Raines. Still a little bit top to bottom, but sure as shit not like it was the last time. My God, it was half off the card, trying to run away. Mark Hill. Ken Daly. He pitched a lot. Von Hayes. George Brett, and that's pretty well centered as well. Man, I am really happy with this. Aftermarket will be kind to me in any way because, you know, a lot of times it's about, you know, eye appeal. Like, how good does it look? You know, minus any other flaws. And right off the bat, man, until I get out the magnifying glass, a lot of these cards have just had really, really great eye appeal. Just centered well, color's great, corners are sharp. There's Rod Carew. Again, well centered. Andre Dawson. Looking great. George Billy Martin. Also the manager for the Yankees for a little bit. Fernando Valenzuela. That's his second year card. It's worth something. I like that. Willie Wilson. Doug Flynn. Dave Beard, except he is not wearing one. I mean, if your name is Dave Beard, man, grow a bush, will you? Lenny Fado. All right. What do you think Beard named his kid? What would you name your kid if... What the hell am I talking about? What would you name your kid if your last name was Beard? Put that in the comments below. That'd be funny. Gene Garber. Oh, took a stack a little bit too heavy. Got a little ambitious. Bob Stoddard. Dan Schatz. There's Tommy Boggs again. Come on, man. Ken Griffey Sr. Obviously, his son became a great baseball player. Ken Griffey, not bad himself. You know, look at those batting averages. 316, 294, 311. I mean, consistently hitting over 300 in his career. Make me a fan. Bobby Castillo. He's got a tight hugger there, too. I'm going to regrip these cards because these bottom ones keep falling off. Isn't that pretty, that little zebra stripe right there? And you know you've got really great untouched cards. Joe Price. Dennis Eckersley again. Al Holland trying to run onto somebody else's card. Dale Berra. I don't know if there's any relationship to Yogi. What's the over-under on Alfredo Griffin actually getting this ball? He looks scared of it. $10 says that turned out to be an error. There's that Dale Murphy, Al Oliver tie for leaders again. Steve Rogers. Manny Castillo running off of his card. Maybe those guys were trying to run onto each other's cards. Dennis Leonard. See, this was the typical 1983 off-centering that tie was kind of expecting. But, man, this has been pretty targeted box. Andre Thornton. Tug McGraw again. That's a clean card. Looks great. After I get off with you guys, then I will be... Oh, shit. Are you kidding me right now? Gorgeous! The centering of that as well. Guys, really? I mean, I just watched so many of these box breaks, and everybody's chasing these cards. And when they got them, they were A, not in good shape, or B, never even got them, or just off-centered as hell. I mean, Tony is the guy that you can never find in a PSA 10. And he got two possible opportunities here. Centered really well. Oh my God. I get quiet when I get nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm happy. Holy hell. Steve Mura. John Martin. And Harold Baines again. You know, I don't mind sitting in the same section if this is the sheets that I'm working with here. Just keep pulling those guys all day. Moose Hayes. See, I remember these. I think I remember these from after the first Tony Gwynn. Vincent Romo. Mike Gates. Sid Mung. Dave Stad. Not sure. There's a Tom Seaver again. These just look great. I can't say enough about it. If this was a prom date, I would be horny. Yeah, there I said it. I'm horny over baseball cards. Dave Concepcion. It's a great card. There's Rick Monday. I just laugh every time I see that guy's name. I don't know why. I don't know why it's funny to me. There's Gary Carter. Alan Bannister. All right. Well, we're getting down towards the end of this 83 Topps break. I wonder if it was the energy that I put into the box all week. Like all week, I was putting energy into the box, saying to myself, looking at it over there on the shelf and thinking, man, I sure hope that there is a Tony Gwynn in there. And turns out there were two in there. Now there's Randy Johnson, not the Randy Johnson that everybody knows as the great pitcher. Super tall Randy Johnson. One time Randy Johnson pitched, he could throw over 100 miles an hour. And not today like a lot of people can, but this isn't a time when most guys just threw like 80, And Randy Johnson one time delivered a ball towards home plate, and it hit a bird that was flying by. I mean, what do you do? I mean, you're the umpire. You're like, I don't even know what you do at that point. You're just like, well, you threw the ball. It wasn't a strike, but it wasn't a ball. And, what happens? You watch this. Just Google it. You just see this delivery, and then all of a sudden you don't even see the bird fly into the frame. It's just an explosion of feathers in every direction. It's crazy. You never see anything like that. But I guess, all of these years of, 186 games a year or whatever it is, it's bound to happen. There's birds in a stadium. Sooner or later, that was going to happen. It sucks that it was, for the bird that it was Randy Johnson, because he's probably the hardest pitcher in the majors at the time. There's Lee Smith. That's a great card too. Second year. I pulled a Lee Smith rookie from an 82 vending box just a little while ago. I was really happy about that, of course. Lee Smith, Hall of Famer. There's a Tom Seaver. Here's a miscut, Frank Tanana. Lou Whitaker. Also a guy who I feel like got, gypped on the Hall of Fame. John Stuper. Ted Simmons. Alan Nicely. Al Cohen's. There's Garth Eorg. Ronce. I mean, it couldn't have found a picture where his glove wasn't like almost in front of his face. Dave Rozema. There's Fergie again. Bill Campbell miscut. Oh, and a hugger. A Bobby Grich. All right, so this will be the last handful. Cannot complain, obviously, with this box. I mean, holy hell. But I sure would love to see a Boggs come through. I do have a Boggs, so it's not a matter of completing a set or anything. These first two cards here were the ones that were on the end, and they're going to be damaged a little bit. Andy Hassler. There's George Brett, and I'd say by now we're probably back to straight. So we're probably safe in case we run across the Boggs, but there's Tony Armas. And then Amos Otis. What if you were Omus Armas? Mike Scott. Jerry Augustine. Pete Redfern. Andre Dawson again. We got Tim Blackwell, Mike Witt, Charlie Lee Brent. It's okay, Stelly. My dog is dreaming. Your dog ever do that? Just like, where are you? You at a dog park? Willie Wilson, Rick Langford. I'm saying these names as if I'm wrapping up. I shouldn't be doing that with the inflection of my voice. Let's just act like we just started this box. Hey, there's a Tony Pena. Got to put the right energy in there. Boggs. Larry Christensen. Pat Zachary. There's a Bruce Boakte? I don't know. And a Jim Beattie. Boakte and Beattie. Those are your team leaders. Larry Hizzle, Tippy Martinez, Jeff Zahn, Steve Cummey, Willie Wilson invited blue. It's a cool card. Here's Max Venable trying to get back to first base. Dave LaRoche. My dad worked for Hoffman LaRoche pretty much his whole life. Jeff Jones, and we've got two cards left. Terry Francona and Rick Cerrone. So, guys, there's the packs. You've got a Cal Ripken twice, I believe, 3 times. 3 Cal Ripkens. I mean, there were 2 time receivers. I know there's one in the other one. We got a Pete Rose, a George Brett, 2 Tony Gwynns, and a Ryne Sandberg. I mean, I just don't... I'm gifted at luck. I guess I'm just gifted at luck. This was the greatest box of baseball cards I ever opened in my entire life. I'm going to say it right now. Super fortunate. I had a really, really, really good time with you guys, even though you're not here, which I guess means I had a good time with myself. And all of these guys. These were my friends tonight. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. I think we kept this just under an hour. Let's see. Nope, we're just over an hour. But if you were watching it at 1.5 or 2, it's definitely under an hour. So this was an 83 Topps Vending Box, and I had a fantastic time. I hope to see you next time. Bye.